Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Mu'tamarud Dawli Al-Thalith Lidirasatil Islamiyah Liyaumil Thani Dirasatil Ulya Bil Jami'atil Islamiyah Al-Hukumiyah Pekalongan. Sahib al-Fadilah Ad-Duktur Mukhlisin Al-Majistir Kan-Naibil Awal Li Raisil Jami'ah Al-Islamiyah Al-Hukumiyah Pekalongan. Sa'adat ad-Dukturah Susminingsi Al-Majistir Kan-Naibah Li Qismid Dirasatil Ulya Bil Jami'atil Islamiyah Al-Hukumiyah Pekalongan. Sa'adat al-asatid wal ustadat wa jami'il ashabil ahibba. Uhayyikum tahiyatan islamiyatan jamilatan wa khaira tahiyatin fil alamina. Nahwaladaikum jami'a. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wal aqibatu lil muttaqin fala udwana illa 'alal zalimin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin nabiyyina wa habibina Muhammadin arsalahullahu rahmatan lil alamin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa azwajihi at-tahirati ummahatil mu'minin wa ala alihi at-tayyibin wa ashabil ghurril mayamin wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yaumiddin. Amma ba'd. Awalan hayya bina nashkuru ila Allah alladhi qad an'amana na'man katsira wa bil khususi ni'matal iman wal islam hatta nastati'a an nastami'a fi hadzal waqt as-sa'id wal makan al-mubarak fi yaumi tsani fil barnamajil mu'tamarid dawli tsalits lid-dirasatil islamiyah bi Jami'atil Islamiyah Al-Hukumiyah Pekalongan. Insyaallah. Thaniyan hayya bina nusalli wa nusallimu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam alladhi jaa bidinil Islam walladhi qad hamalana minadh dhulumati ilan nur biqaulina Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Ayyuhal hadirun al-mukramun. Al-barnamijil awal wa huwa al-iftitah. Hayya naftah barnamijana bikirati ummil kitabi ma'an ala hadhihi niyah wa likulli niyatin salihah. Al-Fatihah. Wa bihadhihi al-qira'ah asallahu an yaj'ala barnamijana sayran hasanan wa yubariku fi amin.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are very delighted to meet all of you on the second day of the third International Virtual Conference on Islamic Studies organized by the Postgraduate Program, State Islamic Institute, IAIN Pekalongan, Indonesia. This conference highlights the theme, enforcing environmental management to ensure cultural and spiritual values for socio-economic benefits. Well, the upcoming agenda is the welcoming remark. Now, we would like to invite the Vice Rector for Academic and Institutional Affairs, IAIN Pekalongan, Bapak Dr. Mukhlisin. Bapak Vice Rector, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Innalhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammad ibn Abdullah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa mawala. Rabbi israh li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd. Respectable Mr. Dr. Adi Dedi Rohayana, Director of IAIN Pekalongan, respectable Mr. Dr. Makrum Khalil, the Director of Postgraduate of IAIN Pekalongan, respectable Mrs. Dr. Hajah Susminingsih, the Vice Director of Postgraduate of IAIN Pekalongan, respectable Mr. Professor Dr. Ahyak, the speakers from IAIN Tulungagung, respectable Professor Abdulrasheed, Olatunji, Abdussalam from Kolej University of Islam, Perlis, Malaysia, respectable Mr. Dr. Jayed Iqbal, Abdul Wali Khan University, Mardan, Pakistan, all presenter and conference participants, the academic and the people of IAIN Pekalongan. Let us praise and thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has brought us virtually to meet in a healthy state of mind and body at this international conference. Salawat and salam I send to the last Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the messenger of God who has been always throughout his sunnah. Let us to be generation who are happy in this world and hereafter. Ladies and gentlemen, the themes of today's conference is enforcing environment management to ensure cultural and spiritual values for socio-cultural economic benefit. This is an interesting theme because it related to the issues which are developing today in the midst of national problem, especially those related to environmental preservation. The environment is always vulnerable, leading to problem because it has two primary activities: exploitation and exploitation. In addition, discussion of the environment is also discussing the issues of life and humanity, which need to be regulated in a balanced and future-minded manner. Ladies and gentlemen, as a nation that is actively development, Indonesia has many aspects that need the development through material and non-material development. The material environment can provide benefit to all people, but sometimes it also has negative impacts. Moreover, the use of natural resources as one of the pillars in the world of industries that don't notice the regulation will certainly cause gradual damage and disrupt the future of the ecosystem on Earth. On the others, Indonesia, as a nation that maintains strong religious values and tradition in the midst of increasingly complex social dynamic in the of industrial revolution of 4.0, the national development, which based on the natural resources, must be studied comprehensively in various aspects. It means that's not only from the aspect of science and technology, but also other science such as education, economy, law, religious, politics, healthy, social, and culture. This principle is significant so that we all have been include a people who obey the text of religion and nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the phenomenon appeared today has shown that there are still a group of people who excuse that is for sake of the development, and they are greedy in exploitation in the natural without paying attention to the environment preservation. This situation certainly has affected many natural things such as a fruit, forest fire, landslides, scarcity of clean water, wars, and various from destruction. This is in line with this has been reported by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Surah Ar-Rum. A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. The meaning is corruption has spread on land and sea as a result of that people hand lived up, so that Allah may cause them to the consequence of some of their deeds, and perhaps they heads makes return to the right spot. Ladies and gentlemen, in a broader context, greater destruction is also spread to human moral aspect. Many forms of deviant behavior have become a dangerous sign to life, which must be early accomplished in various perspectives. And in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has glorified mankind by making them a Khalifah who has the opportunity to benefit all his creation. Therefore, the next human mission is to manage and utilize natural resources for their needs, and Islam does not prohibit mankind from utilizing and exploring natural resources. The utilization, however, needs to be contracted wisely and responsibility, so that what not bring negative impact to the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the problem of the environment have not been nationality, but they have been also globally, which required positive response from the academic to study it comprehensively throughout a number of research, development, publication, and public service, including seminar and conference. Therefore, on behalf of the chairman of IAIN Pekalongan, we really appreciate the conference organizing on Islamic studies, which held for 2 days. Based on the report from the director of postgraduate, many presenters will present their paper in the conference, and there will be 100 parallel paper prepared by the academic and postgraduate students from our own countries and from abroad. Throughout the activity, we hope it can produce a representative recommendation, a management concept, and government which provide the greatest benefit for the communities while maintaining environment sustainability. IAIN Pekalongan, which is currently striving toward transformation to be State Islamic University, UIN Pekalongan, commit to developing science and technology, which could sustain human life through the use of environment productivity and pay attention the balance of the ecosystem. A study of the environment from a variety of disciplines is expected to be the key real benefit and provide additional values for welfare of people of the national and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, additionally, due to COVID-19, academic activity is carried out virtually. This kind of method is the most appropriate choice considering the healthy protocol must be taken in the account such of physical distancing and keep clean clothes and other prevent new cluster. So throughout the virtual methods, this activity has brought a positive impact. It can reach participants from a number of regions effectively and efficiently. Therefore, we would like to thank the main speaker, parallel presenter, and participants who have contributed to the success of this conference. The high participant indicated that the academic atmosphere of IAIN Pekalongan is continuing to exist and is increasingly dynamic even though in the pandemic situation. Hopefully, this activity contributed significantly to be sustainably of the transformation of science and insights among the academic to create benefit for interest of humanity, development, and religion. Ladies and gentlemen, by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by reading Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, we declare that the activity of virtual conference on Islamic studies is open. Welcome to conference to the end. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give a healthy body and the power of thinking scientifically to us. Thank you very much. Akhirul kalam. Wallahu muwafiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bapak Vice Rector, for giving the remark. Respectful ladies and gentlemen, on the second day of IPIS 2020, three invited speakers have been with us. We have Professor Dr. Ahyak from IAIN Tulungagung, Indonesia. Second, Professor Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji Abdussalam from Kolej University Islam Perlis, Malaysia. And the last one is Dr. Javid Iqbal from Abdul Wali University, Mardan, Pakistan. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the conference session. It will start from 9 to 11:30. Without further ado, now we would like to invite the moderator, Bapak Dr. Imam Kanafi, to lead today's conference session. Bapak Doctor, we give the virtual stage to you. Thank you.
فليتفضل للأستاذ الدكتور إمام Kanafi الماجستير فليتفضل مشكورا.
Thank you very much, Mr. House and Mr. Master Ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, all participants of this conference, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, once again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Wherever you are, however, and whoever you are, from my deeply heart, I pray that you are always fine and well, also strong and happy. It is because hopefully we are all stay away from a COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, I also hope you all participant of this conference always happy and enjoy in joining this international virtual conference. Why? Because this conference is a forum for the development of our scientific as an academic community, which must be followed and enjoyed with pleasure. Okay, let's celebrate this forum with a declaration that I am happy, we all happy to be part of the third international virtual conference on Islamic studies today. Okay, first of all, my brother and my sister, I would like to introduce myself. That's my name, Imam Kanafi. I am a lecturer of Sufism and Psychotherapy program from the Faculty of Usuluddin Adab dan Dakwah, Pekalongan State Institute of Islamic Studies. I'm here as a moderator for this plenary session in the second day of the third International Virtual Conference on Islamic Studies with the theme of enforcing environmental management to ensure cultural and spiritual values for social and economic benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, sure, this topic is a great and interesting topic. It is because environmental problem have strong related to our quality of life. Yeah, quality of life as a human being in this earth. This good environmental management will deliver a life conducive to the fulfillment of life needs, both biological, psychological, social, economic, education, also as well as cultural and spiritual. Okay, the relationship between three variables, environmental management, cultural and spiritual values, and socio-economic benefits will be discussed in detail by experts who invited in this international virtual conference. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we have three distinguished speakers who come from three Muslim countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Pakistan. The Indonesian speaker is Professor Dr. Kiai Haji Ahyak from Tulungagung, East Java. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum, Professor Ahyak.
Salam, thank you, Mr. Imam Hanafi. How are you today?
Okay, you like very happy this morning, sir.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I hope you very, very health and happy join this conference.
Of course, very happy join in your conference now.
For the Malay speaker is Professor Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji Abdussalam from the Islamic College, Perlis, Malaysia. Assalamualaikum, Ustaz Abdulrasheed. Hello, are you ready to join with us? Okay, maybe the committee should to contact him to join this forum. Yeah. Okay, the Pakistan speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Zahoor Haq from Abdul Wali Khan, but because he is unable to attend this conference, he appointed Mr. Associate Professor Jafat Iqbal from the same university, Abdul Wali Khan University, Mardan, Pakistan. According to the committee information that Dr. Iqbal will join this conference maybe 10 minutes before his presentation. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the presentation, I would like to ask your attention that we have 90 minutes for presentation, and every speaker 30 minutes to deliver his talks. After our presentation, time for question and answer and comment. I hope to my brother and sister participant of this conference to prepare the question and comment during the presentation due by presenter. You may write the question and comment in the chat room of Zoom meeting or live YouTube streaming, or you may raise hand to deliver directly in Zoom video conference. Maybe you, I hope and I ask you all participants, active and creative response. Yeah, it is because your active response is very, very expected. Yeah, if you find something interesting from the presentation speaker, please comment. Yeah. And if you find something to know more and more, please ask question. It's never mind if you use Arabic or Bahasa Indonesia in comment and question, and maybe the committee will help you to translate in English. Are you ready, committee, to translate? Yeah. Okay. Hello, participants. Are you all okay? Hello?
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
I'm
hello, good
ready.
morning. We're
Okay.
okay.
Mister. Stay with me
Bless
to
you.
join this conference with happy and enjoy, okay?
My happy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yes,
happy,
yes.
I'm enjoy.
Yes.
I'm happy.
Enjoy.
Okay. Keep enjoy and happy. Huh? Okay, my brother and sister, the conference participants, we're going to the first speaker. He is Professor Dr. Kiai Haji Ahyak. Yeah? He is a senior lecturer and researcher from Tulungagung State Institute for Islamic Study. Maybe he is always as a senior lecturer in Islamic education, and also now he is a director of postgraduate program in Tulungagung State Institute of Islamic Education. Okay, Mr. Ahyak, he will deliver the presentation with the title Character Building in Islamic Society. Hello, Mr. Ahyak.
Hello, good morning,
Okay.
sir.
You
Imam
have
Hanafi.
Okay, Mr. Ahyak.
Yes.
Have 30 minutes to deliver your presentation.
How
Okay?
many minutes? How many minutes?
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Enough for you?
Okay.
Okay.
Enough.
Okay, Mr. Ahyak and all audience and participants, the stage for Mr. Ahyak to deliver his presentation. Okay, Mr. Ahyak. It is
Okay. Okay, thank you. Moderator Imam Hanafi from Pekalongan. I am very glad to meet you because we are very funny. What is the meaning of Blankon? Blankon in Tulungagung is the name. Your Blankon is very nice, very beautiful.
Indonesian tradition.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Allahumma shalli ala sayyidina Muhammadin abdika wa nabiyika rasulika nabiyil ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi barik wa sallim tasliman bi qadri azamati dzatika fi kulli waqtin wa hin. Dear Honorable Professor Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji Abdussalam from Kolej University Islam Perlis, Malaysia. The Honorable Professor Dr. Zahoor ul-Haq min Abdul Wali University, Mardan, Pakistan. And then special my friend Mukhlisin, Professor Mukhlisin, Vice Rector of IAIN Pekalongan. The Honorable Dr. Makrom and Dr. Susminingsih. Are they here? Susminingsih and Mr. Makrom. Yeah. Dear ladies and gentlemen, a special I say to you, good morning, my colleague from overseas. There are here, we see, Amira Sahir, my friend from Egypt. How are you today? Good morning. Amira Sahir. And then Asma Abu Sahyun. Asma Abu Sahyun maybe from Jordan. Look. From Jordan or from Syria? Very Asma Abu Sahyun.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. And then Rosalie from Palestine. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning from Philippines, sir.
Yes, thank you. And then my friend, my colleague from Polandia here, Mr. Bartos.
Good morning.
Which country? Bartos. Good morning, Bartos from Polandia. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Alhamdulillah. Jenny Peralta from Peru. My friend from Peru, Jenny Peralta.
Good morning.
Morning. And then Izzatoi Samarova. My friend from Uzbekistan. Huh?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Are you from Aljazair or Uzbekistan? Samarizatoi.
I'm from Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. Thank you very
Uzbekistan.
much. Jenny Peralta from Peru. My friend from Peru.
Good morning.
Peru.
Good morning again. Good
Wow.
morning, Peru.
Now in Peru maybe subuh praying. Subuh praying maybe. And then Mahin San Mai, my friend from where?
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Mahin.
Assalamualaikum, Professor. Good morning.
Good
How are you
morning.
today?
Yeah, Mahin San Mai from
Yes, I'm from Myanmar.
Myanmar.
Assalamualaikum.
Yes.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Asma Abu Sahyun.
Supi. Supikuchi from Thailand. Morning, Thailand.
Good morning, Pak.
Okay, yes.
Asma Busahyun. Good morning, Doctor.
Mr. Atta from Singapore. How are you, Mr. Atta? Mr. Atta now in Nganjuk or in Singapore, Mr. Atta? Yeah. Mr. Atta, my friend. Now in Nganjuk maybe. Good morning, Mr. Atta. Maha Husni. Good morning, Maha Husni.
Doctor. Good morning. Greetings from Egypt. Best of luck.
Yeah. From Egypt? What time
Yes,
now in
from
Egypt, Maha
Egypt.
Husni? Okay,
Good morning.
thank you very much for
Good morning. Best of luck,
coming to
inshallah.
this conference. Okay,
Good
Imam
morning.
Hanafi, thank you very much.
You are
There are some friends from overseas here. I must say good morning to them. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, my people today, character building in Islamic society. A case study of Muslim families in Tulungagung, Java, Indonesia. In this zone, maybe you can share computer here, optimize, share. Oh. Can I share my paper here? Imam Hanafi, do you know? Paper here? Hello.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. You know?
Yeah. Enough.
Okay.
You can read.
Yeah.
Now, yes.
Yeah.
Chapter. Yes.
Too small.
More? Okay. Education, character building Islamic society, a study of Muslim families in Tulungagung, Java, Indonesia. Imam Hanafi, do you know? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Very
My
good.
son? Okay, very good. Yes. My paper, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms here. Number 1, introduction, literature review, research method, result and discussion, and then conclusion. For introduction, the research, I say character building the Islamic world does not always yield optimal result, as evident by the widespread social behaviors that indicates lack of character in many Muslim countries. Then, for the real example of lack in character was occurred in Brunei. Sorry, from Brunei. The statistic from the Royal Brunei Police here. Statistic from the Royal Brunei Police Force about that in 2009, there are 126 offenders aged 18 and underway arrested for a variety of offenses, including assault, theft, and vandalism. The latest figure from Royal Brunei Police Force also saw that between January and March 2010, there are 39 minors were arrested in the 3-month period, as 19% increase from the same time period in the previous year. Yes, Indonesia, another Muslim country, that has the problem of character is Indonesia. The problem of violent youth growth as escalated in Indonesia following economic recession, unemployment, and weakened state institution. Young people have been affected by a lack of income and broken expectation. Consequently, youth can have emerged and so generate economic revenue for their members as well as create identity and confidence. Drianto expresses how juvenile delinquency in Indonesia has led to many underage children becoming smoker, using narcotics, engaging in casual sex, and committing crime. Moreover, more violent activities, including murder, are often related to drug and or gang, as the mentioned media report of female gang classes in high school. In Turkey, the problem in Turkey. This country is considered as the most cohesive and lively population take part in pilgrim. Character avoiding education issues have apparently received enough attention through education. Value and cultural field. And then in the USA, Licona identified Thomas Licona. Thomas Licona identified some sign of moral degradation that could make the character of the nation. Licona stated that number of factors have adversely affected young people in Turkey. Moreover, there is some reason to revive character education. This factor is number one, poor parenting. It means even in unbroken families. Number two, inappropriate role model. And three, mass media's portrayal and materialism, sex and violence also peer pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, here there are 10 areas about the environment or the character can be seen. Number one, increasing youth violence, mouthing disrespect for authority, growing dishonesty, cruelty to peer, because within school, sex at earlier age, dropping work ethic and increasing selfishness and declining regard for civic responsibility. 9, more self-destructive behavior. And 10, a lack of ethical competence. However, according to the research of Soria in Egypt, hello, Serihan and Mahusni. In Egypt.
Good morning, doctor. Best of luck.
Yes, there's the data in Egypt. Juvenile delinquency in Egypt remained remarkable, benign, and later stable is good, rather good. The attribute these 2-3 main factors. Number one, an orthodox religion-based value system where the daily moral behavior of juveniles is heavily influenced by Islamic institutions. This research from Soria. The family structure that is closely connected and where children are routinely taught how to behave in a socially acceptable manner and sent if they commit a crime. See, a progressive juvenile justice system rather than treating delinquency as a crime regards it is a social phenomenon instead. I think very good in Egypt about juvenile delinquency. Then literature review. Literature review, there are character education, character building in the global era, character education from Islamic perspective. Yeah, maybe okay, this number one. Then number two, in general term, character education shape to development phase 2. As human excellence as the foundation of the purposeful, productive, and fulfilling life, and a just, compassionate, and flourishing society. In this, according to Thomas Likona, you can read, please. Now, and then literature review the implementation of character education for students in Islamic countries is still in thorny issues, with it often being of formality, normative, stack in superficiality, taking priority for substantial aspect and overlooking the deep and meaning of certain life. Based on this, educators around the world are starting to realize that the study of moral education needs to be revived. The consideration underlying the importance of a moral education. Number one, with family ties. So the negative tendencies in modern Kanafi life, and three, revival of the need for ethical values, moral and manners in modern time. This from Nurul Zuriya. And then character education here in Malaysia, Malaysia education. Used in Malaysia for starting character education, the general aim of moral education, ME, it's moral education in Malaysia, is to develop individual with good character, so they will be responsible and contribute to harmony and stability in the nation, as well as global society. I think Malaysia is very good. The main objective of are to enable to being to, number one, understand and internalize the noble values necessary for good character. To learn and accept the importance of harmony between people and the environment and strive to sustain it. 3, enhance understanding and cooperation by sustaining a peaceable and harmonious life in a democratic Malaysia. 4, develop mature thinking based on moral and spiritual values to be used when making more decisions and solving problems. And number five, develop a commitment to act morality based on justice and altruism in line with the noble values of Malaysian society. This from Ministry of Education. Okay, here, lastly, good character is not formed automatically, but rather developed over time through a sustained process of teaching, setting example, learning and practicing character education. The deliberate teaching of good character is particularly important in today's society because the youth face many opportunities and danger that go unpicked to earlier generation. Character education encompasses a broad range of concepts such as a positive school culture, moral education, just communities, caring school communities, social emotional learning, positive youth development, civic education, and service learning. All of this approach promote the intellectual, social, emotional, and ethical development of young people in and encourage them to share a commitment to helping young people become responsible, caring, and contributive citizens. Thomas Ricona. And then character education, character building in the global era. In the current global era, Muslims need a strong handle to so they can select and sort the many values they are offered. In fact, it has already finded the educational focus and of learning values as building the knowledge, the skill, and character. And then here in America, it provides 11 principles of character education in America. Yeah, number one, effective character education promotes core ethical values as well as supportive performance values as the foundation of good character. And number 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Effective character education engage families and community members as partners in the character building effort. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this 11 principles provide guidance for local school, especially in America. Character building in global era, wisdom, justice, attitude, self-control, love, positive attitude, hard work, integrity, and humanity. Okay, now in Islamic perspective, the character education of learners become a task that must be done seriously, systematically, and in a programmed manner to its interconnection with the life of children. Like Cooperman stated that character on moral education is a complicated business. Then number one, character education, then character education side time. As more from the United States, it was to include important objects and so on here. And then from the Islamic perspective, number one, akidah, tauhid, can establish an overseas and human behavior that stem from the formation of the self, the family, and community life. Our people are aware of the responsibility of what must be done, and so on here at the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this establish a harmonious community and secures it. It encourages people to respect other people's rights, whether they be family members, neighbors, girls, or whomever. This also educates human beings to mutually respect one another and be mutual affection. Fatmi Hidayat Nusari Fati Ahmak from Islamic scholar. I think this statement is not for Muslim people, but another Muslim, also in another Muslim. As a result here, about character education in Islamic perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, about our research, here research design, data and data resource, then data analysis technique, and checking the validity of data. Here. The method. And then result and discussion here. There are 3 results about my paper, my research here. Number 1, parents in teaching good character to their children. and then the goal of character building for children, and then the role of parent in character building. In number one, this is the result. Oh, yes. Number one, parents need to have an optimal skill to educate their children, but they have to assess themselves first. It is therefore important for parents to have a mastery of educational methodology and the appropriate material, as well as the ability to provide guidance, direction, and motivation. Parents first need to look inwards and decide whether they themselves are mature in their life. If they find they are not, they need to engage in self-education by seeking out information from people with the capacity to educate young people, because parents themselves should have a mature character. That's number one. Two, when educating themselves, parents should understand the indicator of personal maturity. Yeah? The indicator of personal maturity, such as having a healthy thought on being able to be independent rather than relying on other people. They should be able to make decisions about their attitude to live without hesitation, while also considering others and accepting their views. They should be responsible for their attitude, behavior, and action, and be able to accept, give, and feel friendship and real affection.
Hello, sir.
Small.
Hello, sir. You have 2 minutes left.
How minutes again?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. 2 minutes. The character goal, waiting for children here, the goal of Joseph, Muslim families in the perfect adult who appear soleh, give servant of Allah and responsible for their own thought and speak. That's all here. And then maturity here. The role of parent in character building. Then conclusion. Yeah. As a conclusion, yes. I think 1 minute enough. Number one, all parents must have the necessary skill to educate their children to have good personalities. Then Muslim parents build children characteristic to develop them into perfect adults who are pious, good servant of Allah, and responsible for their own thought and speech according to Islam. And the parent play an important role in influencing a child to develop an Islamic character in later life. Thank you very much. Enough. 1 minute, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, moderator. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Professor Ahyak,
Okay.
for your amazing presentation this morning.
Thank you. I hope you all participants ask to me and give contribution your idea. Maybe there are good idea from participant to make compliment about our research. Actually, our research has published in Scopus International Journal, sir. So
great.
today I only present here. I hope you don't publish this paper. If you want to publish my paper, I will send maybe next week. the new result from Tulungagung, from me.
Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr.
Okay. Yes.
Your presentation is very great
Okay.
and amusing. Maybe your writing that published in Scopus is also very inspiring for us.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, according from Mr. Professor Ahyak talks, that lack in character occurs in many countries all over the world. Yeah? In this context, maybe environmental, cultural, social, and economic problem are the result of the character that do not conform to religious teaching. Mr. Professor Ahyak offers solution by promoted character education to build character based on religion, a religious doctrine. Yeah? Character building project should involve parent and education should start from children. Maybe that's my highlight from your presentation, Mr. Ahyak.
Okay.
I'm sure participant will give question for this presentation. Yeah. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Ahyak. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, are you happy and enjoy?
Very happy.
Okay.
Happy.
Very much. Keep smile and keep happy in joining international virtual conference. Yeah. Okay, we are now going to second speaker. He is Professor Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji Abdussalam. Hello, Ustadun al-Kiram.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Waalaikumsalam. Ahlan wa salam, Ustaz.
Hayakumullah bayyakum.
Amin. Ahlan wa salam. في
فرصة سعيدة.
المسرح الدولي الافتراضي هذا. Ya. Syukran Ustaz. Ladies and gentlemen, Al-Ustad Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji Abdussalam هو من كبار الأساتذة في جامعة إسلامية Perlis Malaysia. وهو خريج من Al-Azhar University, also خريج من USA Arizona University. Is right, Mr. Olatunji?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, he is Mr. Abdulrasheed is the senior researcher and senior lecturer in Islamic University Perlis, Malaysia. Yeah. Today, he will deliver a presentation to this conference by the title Education and Religious Values for Sustainable Environment. Yeah? Education and Religious Values for Sustainability and Environment. This is the topics from Al-Ustad Professor Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji. Maybe the paper will have shared in room chat. Yeah? Okay, Al-Ustad al-Kiram, al-waqtu iyakum. لأقدم هذه المحاضرة. Please, Mr. Abdulrasheed, you have 30 minutes to deliver this presentation. Okay, Mr. Time and stage for you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Assalatu wassalam ala sayyidina wa habibina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji Abdussalam. I specialized in teaching Arabic for non-native speakers. Lecturer at Faculty of Islamic Studies, Kolej University Islam Perlis, Malaysia. My greeting to everyone participating in this conference, especially the organizers. Inshallah, I suppose to speak Arabic language, but inshallah today I will deliver my lecture with English, inshallah ta'ala. And the topic of my paper is education and religious values for sustainability environment. Firstly, introduction. Education is not subject to a single definition, for it varies with time, place, professions, and individual status. Education can generally be thought of as the transmission of values and communicated knowledge of a society. It is a societal instrument for the exception of human culture, which may be formal or non-formal. Some people regard education as information giving, while some regard it as a preparation for life, while others regard it as a prize which provides the children with knowledge, skills, and value that in society believes to be necessary. However, in 1988, there is one router called Iyere from Nigeria, sees education as a tool for social development as well as a tool for social change. That is why in Arabic there's something called al-ilmu afdal min kulli shay. The knowledge is the best thing someone needs to have. UNESCO in 1992 had described education to be critical for promoting sustainable development and improving the capacity of people to address environmental development issues. Education, in essence, involves the upbringing, training, and instruction of children according to acceptable standards of the society. It is therefore the process of learning and preparing an individual from birth and all through his life through encouragement and participation for happy and useful membership of the society in which it lives and helps to advance its good values system. Although there is shared acceptance among many academics of the purpose of this form of contemporary environmental education, many reports which highlight the needs for change toward more sustainable lifestyles and knowledge, acknowledge the role of education in achieving this, have failed to specify how religious education can contribute to such change. If we want to change the system of our education, we must include what they call religious education. As a result, as a direct result, many nations have responded by including a compulsory religious subject in their school state curriculum. by modifying existing religion programs to have a more motivated approach. Let me give you an example. Nigeria, as an example, we have many religions in Nigeria, but the Muslim we have 70% of the population. That means Nigeria is the second largest country, Islamic country, after Indonesia. And our population is going about 180 million. Now the Muslim is 70%. Before, we don't have what they call religious education. As I recall, in 1980s or 70s, many people, there is a revolution for education in Nigeria. They called for religious education. And now, as I'm talking to you right now, in the from primary school till university, we have Islamic education with many names. In the primary school, we call it Ahyak, Islamic Religion, IRS, Islamic Religious Studies. And we have many faculties of Islamic study in Nigeria University. Meaning of values education. Values are the guiding principles for accepted behavior in the society. Osset said this in 2011. He also explained that the extent to which behavior conforms to the value system of the people determines the acceptability or rejection of such behavior. The values and attitudes we live by affect how we relate with other people. They cannot separated from cognitive and understanding, and these two terms relate to the affective determination of human behavior, dimension of human behaviors. And also values are used as standard gauge to determine whether something is good or bad or right or wrong. Let me come to objectives of values education. The following objectives have been said to guide the teaching of values education in Nigeria, in other Islamic countries. First, to create attitudes and improvements toward sustainable lifestyle. Secondly, to improve the integral growth of human beings. Third, to increase awareness about our national history, national integration, community development, and environment, constitutional rights, and our cultural heritage. Fourth, to create and develop awareness about the values and their significance and their role. Fifth, to know about various living and non-living organisms and their infection with the environment, or interaction with the environment that we are living. And based on the above objectives and the values education, religious teachers, professional development is paramount to give creative moral inspirations and guidance to the youths, and this will enhance their understanding and application of education's value, of value education. And what would the meaning of religion? If we are talking about religion, what is the meaning of religion? Religion is an organized collection of beliefs. We call it al-mu'taqadat, or al-i'tiqad, and it comes from fi'l Akoda yu'aqidu ta'qidan. What's your belief in your mind? And it can be cultural system and the world views that relate humanity to an order of existence. Many religions have narratives, symbols, and scale histories that are intended to explain the meaning of life or to explain the origin of life or the universe. From their beliefs about the cosmos and human nature, people derive morality, ethics, religious law, or a preferred lifestyle. According to some estimates, there are roughly 4,200 religions in the world. And many religions may have organized behaviors, clergy, and definition of what constitutes adherence or membership. Holy places like and a Muslim, we have Kaaba, and we have go to Medina and see many places. The practice of a religion may also include rituals, sermon, commemoration, goals or goodness, sacrifices, festivals. Like Muslim, we have 3 festivals. The first one after Ramadan, we call it Eid al-Fitr. And we have Eid al-Adha. And the last festival is Yom al-Jum'ah. Entrance, invitations, and many things. We have prayer, music, art, dance, public service, or other aspects of human culture. In Nigeria only, we have many religions, but Alhamdulillah, Islam is major. And what Islamic religion? Islam from word Arabic al-Islam, which literally means submission. Submission to Allah. We call a Muslim, that means you submit yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That teaching that there is only one God, Allah, and that Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. And this is not only belief of a Muslim, we believe all messengers are servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talk about Noah, we talk about Ibrahim, Isa, Musa, all they are messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Muslim, we believe this. And it is world's second largest religion with 1.9 billion followers, or 24.5% of the world's population, known as Muslims. Muslims make up a majority of the population in 49 countries. Islam teaches that God is merciful, all-powerful, and unique, and has gathered mankind through prophets, revealed scriptures, and natural signs. The primary scriptures of Islam are the Quran, believed to be verbatim word of God, as well as the teachings and narrative example called the Sunnah. The Prophet Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as his behavior, we call it Sunnah. And we have 3 types of Sunnah. In definition, if you want to in definition of Sunnah, we have what is said and what he did, and what someone did but he didn't complain. That we call at-taqrir. We call at-taqrir. Important and objective of education in Islamic religion. Islamic education is entirely different from other types of educational theory and practice, largely because of the all-encompassing influence of the Quran. Quran is the source of our knowledge that teach us everything. The Quran serves as a comprehensive blueprint for both the individual and society, and as the primary source of knowledge. An advent of the Quran in the 7th century was quite revolutionary for the predominantly literate Arabian society. When the Rasulullah started calling people to Islam, many people called him liar. They called him crazy man. But at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect his messenger and let the Quran be then till now. There is nothing changed from Quran al-Karim. But the Quran was considered the word of God and needed to be organizedly interacted with him by means of reading or reciting its word. Muslim, if you are reciting Quran al-Karim, you believe that you have reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Quran with reading or reciting can guide you, protect you from the evils. Thus, education in Islam unequivocally drives its origin from a symbiotic relationship with religious instruction. And we have the language of Quran that called Arabic. As I told my students, not everyone that's speaking from Khalij or from Saudi Arabia, from Arabian country called Arabic. We also, as you're Muslim, you are Arabian because you speak Arabic in your prayer, and when you go to Hajj, you do labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and you cannot say it with your language. You're supposed to say with Arabic. That means we call kullu man tahaddatha al-arabiyya fahuwa Arabi. And the Arabic language has 3 terms of for education. We have a ta'lim. We have a ta'lim min fil allama. The most widely used word for education in the formal sense is ta'lim, from the root of alim. What is the meaning of ta'lim? To know, to be aware, to learn, which is used to donate knowledge being sought or imported through instruction or teaching. And the second word for education in Arabic we call at-tarbiyah. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, "Addabani Rabbi fa ahsanu ta'dibi." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach me and he gave me knowledge. And this word comes from the root of rabba, to increase, to grow, to rear, implies a state of spiritual and ethical nurturing in accordance with the will of God. And the last word for education is ta'addaba, from the root of adduba or addaba, to be cultured, to refined, and to be well-mannered. So suggests a person's development of sound social behavior. What is meant by sound requires a deeper understanding of the Islamic conception of the human being. The roles of religion in inculcating values. Islam has presented a universal brotherhood also. It is mentioned again and again that a strong and true brotherhood can be developed only in function of humans' relationship with one another. Let me give you an example. Nigeria, we don't have religious problem in our country. Muslim men can marry Christian women, like stated in Quran Kareem. It's permitted for Muslim man to marry Christian woman. There is nothing wrong in that. Other factors like common interest, common beliefs, common occupation may help to foster brotherhood. In Quran, Allah says the believers are not else than brothers. Innamal mu'minuna ikhwah. We are all brother. Here in Malaysia, I used to lead people in the salat. People from Cambodia, people from Thailand, people from Indonesia. We are all brother. We are all brother. And the second thing is humanity, modesty, integrity, patience, steadiness, and fulfilling one's promises as certain moral values that are emphasized again and again in the Quran. Amana, as-sidqu, wa akhlaq tayyiba, all these good ethics are emphasized in the Quran. As Allah says in all the Quran, and God loves those who are always firm and steadfast. And before explaining, and this you get it in my full paper, I will send to organizer to talk about economic and education and what Islam says about economic. Environmental education and its approach. Environmental education is a process that allows individuals to explore environmental issues, engage in problem solving, and take action to improve the environment. As a result, individuals develop a deeper understanding of environmental issues and the skills to make informed and responsible decisions. Since environmental education was first introduced into the school curricula, it has struggled to establish its own identity. Who said this? The Wheeler in 1975. He says a historical review reveals how up to the 1970s environmental education was not accepted as a concept in its own right, but instead was dispensed in a diversity of disciplines that use the environmental as a vehicle for teaching. We can get the full information about this in my paper. Conclusion, it was clearly navigated in the paper the importance of education and religion values for environmental sustainability. Obvious relationship exists between religious instruction and the value education. Both introduce learners to religious and values instructional requirements of the society to which they live. They aimed at character training and inculcate acceptable ways of behavior and knowledge of God to the learner. Instructions are presented carefully and systematically to learners in order to arouse their interest and sharpen their religious and value insight. Religious instruction promotes morality, while values education hangs on some aspects of religion that promote welfare in society. However, both religious instruction and the values education are meant to create a good and harmonious society where all citizens, irrespective of race, tribe, religion, social or economic status, should be peacefully coexist. All these things, we have it in Nigeria, and I'm very sure, like Indonesia, as I read last time, Nigeria, we don't have problem with tribe, religion, social, or economy. My boss can be Christian and I'm Muslim. That's nothing. That's no problem. It will allow you to perform your prayer, to do your necessary thing you want to do. It will not even ever disturb you in your religion. So that is why we are living in a good way. And the way forward, in as much as it may be an appeal task to completely wipe out immoral behaviors in our society, the following steps must be taken to reduce them to the barest minimum. Firstly, value stands as a lighthouse giving direction to all who want to reach the right place in times of women on national development, and those should be upheld. Secondly, government must, as a matter of, yeah?
You have 1 minute left.
Oh, sorry. Government must, as a matter of urgency, embark upon national ethical reorientation through different agencies of the government to ensure it succeeds and correct the errors of our society. Our society is sick, and we should create a sustained immoral environment in the country which all discourage all forms of evil behaviors among the people and all social and environmental crises. And inshallah, the full paper will be published inshallah very soon with organization with the university. Inshallah ta'ala, I'm very grateful for you to listen to me in this conference. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم. And if there's any question,
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
let me know.
wabarakatuh. Thank you, jazakallah, jazakumullah, Ustadz Kiram Abdulrasheed, Olatunji, Abdussalam. Ajib jiddan hadhihi al-maqala.
Jazakallah khairan, ahsanallahu alayk.
Presentation is very, very amazing, yeah. Maybe I can highlight some result of this presentation from Professor Abdulrasheed. That many nations have response of the problem by including a compulsory religion subject in their school stage curriculum with a multi-faith approach. So the second, the objective of values education, such as creating attitudes, improve the integral growth of human being, and increase awareness about their nation. The third, from the religious belief, people derive morality, ethic, religious law, and preferred lifestyle. So Islam has a clear teaching for environmental care. So Islam has strong rule in inculcating values such as humanity, modesty, integrity, passion, and so on. So the religious instruction and values education are mean to create a good, harmonious society where all citizens, irrespective of race, tribe, religion, social, and economic status, should peacefully coexist. That might be some highlights for me, and I'm sure my participant of this conference also have some question addressed to Professor Abdulrasheed, Olatunji, Abdussalam. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Professor Rashid. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a third presenter. He is Assistant Professor, Associate Professor, Dr. Javid Iqbal. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Javid Iqbal. If you join with us, hello. Maybe the committee can help me to call him. Okay, maybe when we writing Professor Javid Iqbal.
Good morning. I'm here.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Javid Iqbal. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning. It is nice to meet you and welcome to this international virtual conference on Islamic studies in our campus, Pekalongan State Institute for Islamic Studies, Indonesia. How are you, Mr. Javid Iqbal?
Thank you for inviting us to be a part of this prestigious conference. Although our background is in economics, but inshallah we'll try to relate that with the Islamic teachings as well. So inshallah, for some of you it might be useful.
Yeah. I hope you and your family and your people in your country is health and happy.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Associate Professor Dr. Javid Iqbal is a senior lecturer and of course senior researcher in Abdul Wali Khan University, Mardan, Pakistan. Today, he will deliver to this conference by the title of his presentation about environmental management and sustainable development. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we all will listen this material from Dr. Javid Iqbal. But when I read your name, Mr. Iqbal, I remind the great scholar Muslim Muhammad Iqbal from Pakistan. Maybe you have relation with Muhammad Iqbal?
I guess maybe I got relationship because when I was born, he was so popular that my parents actually put my name on his son's name. His son was a famous Chief Justice of Pakistan. His name was also Javid Iqbal.
Yeah, Muhammad Iqbal not just famous in Pakistan, but famous in the Muslim world, also in Indonesia. Okay, Mr. Dr. Javid Iqbal, you have 30 minutes to present these talks, and it is time for you.
Okay, first of all, again, good morning to those where there is a morning, good afternoon and evening where there is afternoon and evening. I again thank you to the committee of IAIN Pekalongan Conference Committee. We really appreciate them for giving us opportunity to share our research with you. So let me share my PowerPoint presentations and then we will go through it. The other thing I was just going to say that Dr. Zahoor ul-Haq, who is the Vice Chancellor, and he's also the Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economics. Actually, he was invited to present that, but he couldn't make it due to some other commitments. On his behalf, I'm presenting that, and I apologize for him not available today. All right. Okay, so today's talk is about the environmental management and sustainable development, which was, as I already stated, was supposed to be presented by Professor Dr. Zahoor ul-Haq, who is the Vice Chancellor of the Abdul Wali Khan University, Mardan. Okay, just to share a very good news with you, Abdul Wali Khan University, Mardan was recently ranked #1 university in Pakistan. The ranking was done by the THE World Rankings, and actually it ranked number 510th in the world. And this citation is basically based on various criteria. And one of the major criteria over there is basically the citations of the research that is conducted at our university. So based on citations, it ranked 3rd in South Asia and 24th in Asia and 200th in world. So honestly, it was a huge achievement. It was a huge achievement for us that we got that news just a month ago. So we are still honestly celebrating that. So it was a huge news for us. Okay, so today's talk is gonna be we are going to be raising some question that what basically environmental management is, how is development, environment, and the social and cultural issues are relating to each other, and how combining the environmental development, social development, and environmental and economic development could lead to long-run sustainable development. And then we are going to be speaking how could these all be achieved. So for those who are not very familiar with the environmental management, I know it is a complex phenomena. There are even questions raised by those who are actually experts in it. So Barrow in 2005 asked such questions: that is it a single field or a discipline by itself? Is it a process? Is it an agreed upon approach where we got to achieve that? Or it refers to all those efforts to identify and pursue those set goals? Or is it just a philosophical concept? So is that also in environmental and development problem solving? So we are going to be talking about issues such like this. As already stated, that Barrow said that it is a goal or a vision to attempt and steer a process using a set of tools. There are tools at the disposal of the economists that they could use to take that process towards achieving the prudent environmental management. So who are basically the environmental managers? If we think about it, we are all a part of the environmental management. Academics can contribute, government policy makers, NGOs, non-government organizations, even firms or companies, they can also contribute. There is a famous concept that they refer to, corporate social responsibility. What does that imply? That apart from making the business profitable, they also got to take care of the people who live there, or those who are engaged there, as well as of that of environment. So we all become a part of the management of the environment. The other thing that is quite relevant, that it's a dynamic process. It's not just a static process that once it is achieved that you reach that goal and then you take a rest. No, it's a relation between the evolving relationship between the economic development, environmental management, and personal well-being of the people. So when that interaction is at the proper or moderate level, then we can think of environmental management in a sustainable way. So how could that course of development could be made such a way that we not only achieve the economic development or the quality of life, but also take care of the environment. So those could be that there are sometimes some critical limits are set for the environmental degradation or environmental pollution. And what could be used, such as research and development or innovations, to reduce and mitigate the environmental issues, and also make the people educated that if environmental issues arise, how could they become more resilient, or how could they actually adopt their lifestyle to it. So it's again a very complex process. And when we are talking that is that possible, then there got to be sometimes the economic, social, and cultural well-beings or goals or objectives may not be actually coincide with each other. They might be actually in contrast or in conflict with each other. So that's why some synchronized or a combined approach to the environmental management is needed. Okay, so as we discuss that sustainable development is basically the combined or overall or a long-term development of the economy, of the environment, of the social being together. So we try to in the sustainable development, what we try is to make the needs of the present generations and without compromising the future generations. So if we overconsume things, and then we are worried that we might not be able to live a very good environmental conditions for them to live, then that's not a sustainable development. So sustainable development consists of combining the social, economic, and ecological development, and that is also over a longer period of time, not just at one period in time. Like we could enjoy all the facilities, all the good life, all the good cars, all the good houses, but if they are not sustainable in the long run, then we are jeopardizing our kids' life. So we are not inheriting a good quality of life for them. So that's why sustainability require a race between, or a balance between, a moderation between these set of goals. Then the question is that actually possible? We look at the various scenarios, and we look at not only economics, but we also look at the faith-based organizations like Muslims, Jews, and other Christians, and other adherents of the faiths. So that's where we are looking for a combined efforts to save the environment. Okay, so I mean, what are the determinants of the sustainable development? If we look, we we could divide them into economy-wide indicators, specific resource use indicators, and specific sector indicators. So if you look at that, when we talk about the economy, in general, we talk about the greenhouse gas emissions, air pollution, water pollution, commercial and industrial waste arisings, and household waste. If we talk about the specific resource, it could be relating to forests, it could be relating to water, it could be relating to some use of a resource like brick line or use of the coal. Or we could also talk about where specifically there are the emissions, such as, for example, there are places hydroelectric is considered a clean generation of electricity, but they, for example, using coal or the thermal, solar is again a clean one. So depends what we are looking at. Okay, so as we spoke about that, there is a rising unease about solving the environmental problems and how could we actually achieve the sustainability. So what needed is that we got all to sit together, and that's why, if you recall, there are various summits on solving the environmental problems, and they try to balance the economic well-being, social well-being, environmental well-being. So how could actually economists contribute towards that? And how actually faith-based organization can contribute towards that? There is a very important concept in economics that we use. We call those as property rights. So property rights, or you can call this as ownership rights, in most of the environmental goods. I mean, suppose clean air, suppose forest, beautiful scenery. Some of those rights are not properly defined. And when the property rights are not properly defined, what happens is that there is overuse or overexploitation of such resources. And we call that phenomena is the missing markets, because things that are not bought and sold, things that are not traded in the market, generally they are very much misused. They are overexploited. There are many examples about it. Some of them you might have heard. Sometimes it is called tragedy of commons. I mean, when common people share a same resource, they misuse it, and it leads to, over time, over-utilization or over-resource use. So what economists try to do is that they try to establish a market for them somehow. Although it is next to impossible to do that, but we do make some assumptions that if we can create markets for them, we can assign some values to them, and then make people pay for that, so that that money can be used towards maintaining them and actually improving them. So any resource where the property rights are not assigned properly, it leads to inefficient utilization of such resources. So I'm going to come back a bit more towards the economic tools that could be used. You might have heard that certain industries, when they try to emit hazards, industries sometimes create hazards that are basically emitted to the water streams, So you don't have the water quality really good. Sometime, I mean, some of the industry is emitting greenhouse gas emissions, or even if you think about the big, in use, they used to call big gas guzzlers, the big vehicles, big cars that people use a lot of fuel, and they emit. So what did they did? They brought the legislation that they got to use the hybrid technology. Now you can see that the hybrid technology or vehicle that are run on electricity are taking shape nowadays. But what happens is that we try to make those things expensive. For example, you make the fuel prices go high so that people switch to using the electricity, or people use the vehicles less and they start using the public transport rather than the private transport. So economists could use the legislation, or suggest the legislations, that there need to be a certain cap, or there need to be a certain restriction, that they cannot go beyond a certain level of emission. So that is one which we call that the certain industries are provided a quota or a certain level that they can emit from there. Second is that they can impose the fines, or they can make it expensive to produce goods that are using such resources like coal or the diesel. So that is basically taxing them. And the third one is that, for example, they could once they put a certain level of quota, if they use lesser level quota, then they try to exchange that with the other farms that are using more quota. So they can make some money, or they can make some funds because they can sell it, because they had a surplus that they have the available, that they can use that quota to sell it. So that's the cap and trade system, that they make money, as well as that reduce the damage to the environment. Education play a huge role. The speaker previous to mine presentation, he already spoke about that education play a huge role. So understand sustainable development should be obligatory for all young people. Bioethics in particular should be taught for maintaining and enhancing sustainability. I mean, we all tell our kids not to throw garbage in the street. There are garbage bin disposal. So even simple things like those could play a huge role. The relationship between the economic development, environmental, managed economic profit is complicated process, and it could. I mean, if we try to achieve a better environmental quality, we probably may compromise some of our quality of life. So some balance is needed. So coming back to what I said, relating it to the Islamic teachings a bit, although I confess I have a very limited knowledge about the Sharia or Fiqh or Islamic teaching, so I do confess that I took them from literature just to relate that to the Islamic teachings. You see, Muslims constitute almost 1/5. It's a huge population of the global population, and most of them live in developing countries, where people try to achieve the economic needs, and they could then actually involve in deforestation. They could be cutting the trees, which help clean the environment because they sequester carbon. So even if Muslims play their role and we follow the Islamic teachings, I think we can all contribute hugely towards the global environmental management. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we have not sent you except for mercy of all creatures. So that doesn't mean that we got to be good with only each other. No, we got to be good with everything on this earth, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created that, and we have to have a huge respect for it. And we also keep in mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is continuously observing us through the angels. And all, whether we do those in private or we do those in public, sometimes we take care for the public. When people are observing it, we do good things. But when we are in private, we see the opportunity, then we could actually harm the environment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in chapter 7, verse 56, do not corrupt the earth after it has been put right. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created it in perfect shape. So we do not need to corrupt the earth. And how are we corrupting it? We are actually, we are all a part of this economy. We are all one way or the other misuse the water resources, misuse the forest resources, misuse the other resources. Prophet Muhammad also said that planting a tree is like a continuous sadaqah, in which you are going to be getting ajr as long as the tree is giving us the shade, or even the birds are even getting benefit by eating the fruits or vegetables. We all is a human being. So what does that mean? That the environmentalists, even economists, we are also looking at the faith-based organizations, that if they even can play a role and inculcate all those teachings in our youth or among us, I think we can play a role in shaping the earth livable for a longer period of time, not only environmentally sustainable, economically and socially sustainable. So that's all I have to say, my brothers and sisters. Again, thank you for the opportunity. So if you have got any questions or suggestions or all comments, we could definitely speak about it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jafar Iqbal, for your amazing presentation about the relationship between environmental and sustainable economic. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe there are many results from Dr. Jafar Iqbal talks. The first, I can say that the relationship between economy, development, environmental management, and personal well-being is dynamic. Environmental managers attempt to steer the process of development in order to take advantage of opportunities in many ways. There are three components of sustainable development: social, and economic, and ecological. The three components must be balanced. So, synchronized approach is necessary to solving the major environmental and sustainability issues. So Mr. Jafar Iqbal said that also we can read from Islamic teaching that Islam actually teach people to care environment, as Allah said in the Quran, "La tusidu fil ardi ba'da islahiha." Yeah. Also, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that cultivate the tree, yeah, it looks like sodako for long life. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the three speakers have delivered their presentation, and it's time to question and answer. We have some questions in chats of the Zoom. Maybe I will read the question. The first question.
Yes, there are some questions for me. There are 22 questions in the chat room.
Yeah, for Mr. Ahyak.
Okay.
You have 3 questions. Yeah. For
Not 300, 20, 22.
Yeah. Maybe I can read 3 questions for you, Mr. Ahyak. The first question from listener Vivin Yulian. He said, character determines someone's private thoughts and in field of Islamic education, how should the curriculum integrate between attitudes, skill, and knowledge? The second question from Ibu Dr. Sophia. Maybe this is the friend of Professor Ahyak. Yeah.
Hello, moderator. Hello. Yes, I will ask about some question in the chat room here, and then I have it in the chat, and then I will answer some question from the chat one by one, maybe, because the chat is very much about the writing about from participant. Okay.
Okay, maybe you need to answer the question before I will.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Imam Hanafi, thank you very much. Some question from participant. There are here. I write here. There are 19 questions for me. 19 questions in the chat room.
Great, magic.
Number 1 from Joko Prasetyo. Assalamualaikum. Nice paper jam from Ahyak. It can enhance the awareness of people, particularly Muslim parents, in educating character toward their children. Okay, thank you, Joko Prasetyo. And then from Maha Husni from Egypt. Great presentation from a great presenter. The role of Islam in building of comprehensive character as well as the quality of character building education. Okay, thank you, Maha Husni, that you give appreciation in my paper. Yeah, I think in Egypt. Hello.
For the question, sir.
And then question from Susminingsih.
I'm here.
Okay. Ask please. Susminingsih.
Yes.
In the chat room, you can. Every nation in the world now made the great thing. Yes, moral education, capitalization, and economic welfare.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so
what's your suggestion for Indonesia as development nation?
Yes, Kanafi, thank you very much. I remember the case related to the first president of Indonesia, Bung Karno. Bung Karno, he revealed that give me 1,000 parents. Undoubtedly, I will pluck Semeru Mount from the road and give me 10 young John. I will undoubtedly sing the word. So I believe that the developed country is imagined based on the young generation behavior, nationality, mindset, custom, and any habit that must be appropriate with the character of Indonesian. Therefore, parents should be good in behavior and knowledge to educate the children or even the teacher in formal school also must be concerned with the development of student attitude, not only intelligent, not only intelligent, but spiritual intelligence. It's very important. Emotional intelligence, very important. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Susminingsih. Susminingsih. And then from Attaur Rahman here. Attaur Rahman. Where is Attaur Rahman? Oh, and then Denny Peralta, Great President, dear Professor Ahyak, yes, from Peru. Amira Sahir from Egypt. Thank you, Professor Ahyak, very informative and important topic. God bless you. Dian Muhammad Hakim, that amazing presentation for Professor Ahyak from Dian Muhammad Hakim Unisma Malang. Okay, thank you. Imam Mahfud, yes, I like to have the material of education of character building by Professor Ahyak. Wait, Bartos. Thank to Professor Ahyak for Bartos. How are you today? Where is Bartos? Bartos Piwa Wursik from Polandia. You have wrote in chat room. Bartos.
Yes, that's right. Sorry, I had technical issues. I had to restart the tablet. Yes, my question was about the significance of police force and schools in upbringing of children and the impact it has on the morality of children. Because as we know, the parents are the role models, right, for the children during raising. However, we all know that police also is important, right, and other institutions. Because, Professor, you mentioned the lack of trust, for example, in the public state institutions, right, or in the government. So what I'm saying is, like, for example, young people can think like, okay, there's no police, I can do whatever I want, right? Or maybe it's deeper problem, like maybe actually they want to be good by default, but they see that because of the government failed, the outlook for their lives is just so they just fall into the well, they just become part of the problem.
Mr. Bartos, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question. Then, according my opinion, parent must accompany their children. It is very important. If the parent left, the children must be left to the educator to look after and educate them. And police must remain a friend of society to have discipline and security. So the role of police also very important. Teacher in school is very important too. Very important. Teacher at school must educate children character well. And then government, state must take full responsibility for the education in Indonesia.
Hello, Mr. Ahyak. Oh, maybe the connection is problem.
Suara saya tadi dengar enggak?
Okay, Mr. Ahyak, okay.
Okay. Okay, Bartos. Hello, Bartos. Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, Professor.
Yes. According my opinion, parent must accompany the child. If the parent left, the child must be left to the educator to look after and educate him. So parent role is very important for accompany the child. And then police more important. So police must remain a friend of society to uphold discipline and security in the society. And then teacher at school, I think very important too. Teacher at school must educate children character way. And then the government and the state must take full responsibility for the education of Indonesian children, especially in character education. So about the duty of character education is depend on family, teacher, police, and then the government. Thank you, Bartos. Thank you very much for your question.
Professor.
Okay. And then another question from where? Yeah.
Nganjuk.
Anjo, please.
Ya.
Anjo.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam. Are you in Singapore or in Nganjuk atau Roman now?
Ya. Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Salam.
In this pandemic, our families in my village do not believe in COVID. COVID-19 too close to Allah. They will protect them at all. Therefore, health protocol is not important. Number one, how to make them is that COVID is dangerous. Number
COVID
two,
is very
how to
dangerous.
protect the children from their mindset. Thank you, Prof.
I don't know, it's pandemic COVID-19, so must be careful. Teachers, students, parents must be careful every day. But how to make them realize the COVID is dangerous? It is your question. I think first doing an observation tour, what media excited in their house. In there are one or more media, it can be done for us to confirm them that COVID-19 has remarkable excited. Second, number two, ask the principal of the village to the socialization like seminar, like socialization by calling the expert as speaker, doctor, or any medical people who handle and expertise about COVID-19. And then third, I think, according to my opinion, it can be done by approaching a person who become a trusted person in their village. For example, having gathering with an educated person that are trusted by this villager who do not believe in COVID. The first step is explaining to the person openly and factually about the cause and effect before and after getting COVID-19. Make him or her believe in what we have stated. Then ask him to make the gathering with a villager and telling about the information of cause and effect of COVID-19. And then we must protect our children. First, educate the parent before the child, like some point before, question number one. Then if the parent have already understood, then going to the second step, such as children must always be accompanied by their parent or guardian when going out or in the gathering. Then with sanitism, keep children away from sick people. Wash her hand or clean his hand often, and then always making masker every day, hand sanitizer and masker. Avoid touching the mouth as a nose. Also, when the children under age, we still need immune medical treatment. The doctor can tell the information about the extent of COVID-19 that can be worse if their children get that disease, or even it can spread easily to the people around them. Semoga Allah ya menyelamatkan kita semua dari from this COVID-19. Save our family from COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Ahyak, thank you very much for your occasion. And then from.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. Now in Nganjuk in Singapore. Ahyak, hello.
Hello, Mr. Ahyak. Maybe you can answer the question generally because
okay, yes,
many questions for you and time is very limited for you.
Now, John. Okay, thank you very much. I will give a general question, the general answer about our paper. Actually, a character building in Islamic work has not always enjoyed optimal result. From the philosophical perspective, character building has lacked the power of the philosophical foundation that is understood and followed by all parties. Here, the purpose of Islamic education is to teach learners to face their future independently, intelligently, and with a moral duty. But in reality, moral issues has become the subject of public apprehension. Ladies and gentlemen, and then in addition, parents play an important role in influencing a child to develop an Islamic character in later life. Parental knowledge about Islamic education and theory, Islamic guidance and counseling, developmental psychology, education and personality are especially important for the daily education activities in the family area. Thank you, Imam Hanafi. I think enough for me. I think another speaker. You can. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor Ahyak, kindly and comprehensive answer for the question.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to Mr. Abdulrasheed. Hello, Mr. Abdulrasheed. Hello. Dr. Abdulrasheed Olatunji. Have you still connect with our conference? Okay, actually there are two questions addressed to Mr. Abdulrasheed about how his mind about car bombs in Syria yesterday. Hello, Mr. Abdulrasheed. It's okay, maybe we're going to Mr. Jafar Iqbal. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Jafar Iqbal. Hello, Dr. Jafar Iqbal.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Maybe you can explain the Pakistan experience. Anyone involved in environmental car and how the higher Islamic education plays in instilling environmental values. Maybe this is important for us as an Indonesian people to know the experience of the rule of higher education in Pakistan in sustainable development, economic and social.
Just to inform, I think overall we have not been playing a role in educating people about the environment. To be honest, I haven't myself seen any formal education provided to the kids about the environmental management, and especially using the Islamic teachings. I mean, these courses is about environmental management, environmental economics, and so forth. They are taught at a high level of education. They usually it starts at in universities, postgraduate level education, where these courses are provided. Honestly, I myself actually lived in Canada and for about 10-15 years, and even I could see people actually educating their own kids. I mean, they are taking that as a responsibility. I mean, we could play our own role as myself as a parent of kids. I teach them at home. I do speak to them, you know, my child, you don't have to do that. You don't have to throw the garbage. You don't have to, I mean, when you are making wudu, you got to be using, you know, lesser water and so on. But I think there got to be informal as well as formal consultation happening between the policymakers, including even myself, academia, and the religious scholars, that even during the Jummah prayers and so on, if they can speak about it and help changing the behavior of people, I'm sure that that could play a huge role. But I think in Islam, you know, there's a concept of jaza in saza. You know, that you get a ajr, you get a reward for doing something. That and then also that we are responsible for our own actions as well. That is not taught, to be honest with you. So I think this forum gives us a thought that we need to be speaking there need to be a dialogue, there need to be a discussion going on among the communities, you know, that how can we actually play our own role and not just blaming or thinking that everything got to be done by the government agencies, you know, cleaning your streets, blah blah blah. So we got to play our own role. So just to tell you that we are not doing as good as we are supposed to be, being an Islamic country on the environmental front.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jafat Iqbal. Hello, Dr. Abdulrasheed. Are you still with us? It's okay. We have still 20 minutes, all participants. Maybe one of you will give comment and question directly via Zoom video conference. Maybe you can raise hand to talk with Mr. Jafat Iqbal and Professor Kiai Haji Ahyak. Please, anyone want to talk directly from this video conference? Okay, no one. Maybe.
Maybe I.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for Mr. Jafar. It's a good presentation, and what's your present today. It's very inspiring for us and remind us that in human life there are two or many sides can to be clash one another. So I ask you that the clash between, I take example between economic and other side of life, such healthy right now, when we face the pandemic COVID in entire of the world still happen. We face many confusion decision for the people itself, for the government, for our society, in many regions, have the clash need what the much we do to get the best result. Maybe we difficult to choose the stay at home, but we have no money, or vice versa, or we want to still help, but we can't do anything. So I think it's not easy to solve this problem, but we need the best solution. It's a simple, the little simple problem we have. Many other clash about economic and culture, economic and spiritual, and many things that we have the problem that it's very difficult to us to choose one of them, the best of them. So what's your opinion or your solution for this? Thank you, Mr. Jeff.
Thank you, Ms. Hanafi, for pointing towards the effect of COVID-19 and how environment could actually been affected either positively or negatively. We see that during the COVID-19, many of the economic activities came to stand still. I mean, there were not many airplanes flying, there were not many vehicles on the road, we were not even going to parks. So we did see a lot of decrease in the environmental degradation or emissions. But this slow economic activity might not last for long. Now, I mean, the businesses are opening, and now the demand for good is going to increase. The economic activity is going to be again very at a high level. But if you notice, I think we do see a significant decrease in the emissions, and we enjoy better environment. You know, we breathe relatively well. There are not many people. There is not much congestion if we go out. So these were the positive and negative aspects of that. But we are worried as an economist that now the economic activity is going to be taking a really big jump, and now we are going to be again affecting the environment. But you see, as an economist, from our perspective, we don't have much at our, I mean, the policy that we have at our disposal is that we make the things expensive that are harmful to the economy. So anything that is harmful to the economy, we make the prices higher. And that is done intentionally so that people can switch to more environment-friendly technologies. I mean, there's a huge debate. People were talking in US that, you know, there was a fellow, he used to say that make the, you know, over there they sell it by a gallon, right? That you increase the price of diesel or petrol to almost $7 or $8 a gallon. And people used to say, oh, this guy is crazy, blah, 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 right? But now we see that when the prices were going high, people were switching to less, like now the hybrid vehicles, which give you 30 kilometer per liter. while the traditional vehicles could give you, suppose, only 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 kilometers per liter. So as an economist, what we do basically try to make the things expensive so that the production or the consumption of that harmful good use is prohibited. So people can start switching towards more environment-friendly technology. That's what economists suggest when they do their analysis or research. So that's what my take is on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Javid. So I think that the people must switch our paradigm or our method of life, right? To combine economic with other side, right?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, policy makers got to think that how could they provide incentives, subsidies, make the more business-friendly environment to those businesses which are producing environmentally friendly products or goods, compared to those which are non-friendly to environment. So that can actually change the behavior of the producers as well as consumers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Meningsih, for your response and comment. And we have still maybe 10 minutes. I have question to Dr. Jafat and also to Professor Ahyak. It is about bombers yesterday. Yeah, I think that the martyred bombers in Syria yesterday, who killed Sheikh Adnan Fayumi, yeah, are the radicalists of Muslim that we must be watched. Our question is how to deal with the radical and fundamental Islamic movement that often bring environmental damage. Again, Mr. Aya and Mr. Jafar, how to deal with the fundamental and radical Islamic movement that often bring environmental damage. Hello, Mr. Ahyak.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. According my opinion, radicalism and Islamic
It's trouble. Okay, maybe waiting for Mr. Ahya. Mr. Dr. Jafar Iqbal, maybe your opinion about the radical Muslim movement. Hello, Dr. Iqbal.
Okay, I was just gonna unmute myself. I was on mute. Honestly, I didn't pick up your question correctly. Could you repeat the question for me briefly?
How to deal with radical Islamic movement that often bring environmental damage? It's because the martyred bombers in Syria yesterday, who killed Sheikh Adnan Fayumi, are the radicalists of Muslim who must be watched.
I think this question probably be better addressed by someone from the Islamic knowledge. I think from the very beginning, I said I don't have much knowledge about the Islam. So I think I'm not in a very good position to speak about it. Although, in general, I could say that, I think one of the I think I see Peoreski, I think he talks about the, that we got to inculcate some really good ethics among our people. We as a Muslim society, although we think that we are very good Muslims and so, but we fail to implement that in our working or in our daily life. So relating that to any bombings or such, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so Rahim. He like Allah is so kind, and killing one person that you don't have the we don't take actually things in our own hands, and killing someone is like killing the whole ummah kind of thing. There is a saying about it. So it's such a huge mess that we are facing in our societies, that we can take the law so easily and in our own hands. There were justice system was established in Islam. There were Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu time, policing, justice and everything. There were, laws and everything. So I don't know, honestly, if I can really in a good position to speak about it, but myself is feeling so depressed on these incidents. So maybe you can take someone among the audience that have a better knowledge about Islam. So I leave that to them, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jafar Iqbal, for your response. Hello, Mr. Professor Ahyak. Are you still with us? Hello? Ustaz Abdulrasheed.
It's problem.
Okay, Mr. Ahyak, maybe you can deliver your closing statement for this conference.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, Islam is very friendly. Islam is religion rahmatan lil alamin.
Yeah.
Islam is a religion of humanity, and Islam is a religion of compassion. Radicalism is not justified in Islam. We must respect indifferent of opinion. So, al-Muslimu akul Muslim. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Kiai Haji Ahyak. So, Mr. Jafar Iqbal, can you give us a briefly closing statement for this conference?
Sure. I think, as I said, from my economic background, balancing the environmental objectives with the social, cultural, or society objectives, as well as that of economic activities, is very complex, and it got to be actually very well studied, as well as the policy makers need to actually invest in research and development activities, and also providing the opportunities to people to be provided education based on Islamic teachings as well as other disciplines, so that they can make decisions that are more prudent and that are actually help us not only having a good life for the current generation, but also keeping the well-being of our future generations. And as already stated, that there are few tools that are at the disposal of the economists that they generally use, and I already said those are relating to providing incentives such as subsidies, imposing taxes or fines, or restricting them through producing a certain level, which is called quota. So, and we all being Muslims or even belonging from any other faith, there are teachings in all those faiths that Allah has, created the world in perfect shape. And we got to actually respect that, and we got to take care of all these resources. So that's what I can say in concluding to that.
Okay, thank you very much, Jazakumullah Hasanat Jaza, Mr. Professor Dr. Jafar Iqbal, for your smart answer, and so you delivering great presentation for this International Federal Conference on Islamic Studies that organized by postgraduate program Pekalongan State Institute of Islamic Studies. Maybe before we close this session, all participants, it's better to take picture together. Hello, all participants. I ask to open your camera. Again, open your all camera. We will take photo session and give your smart face. The committee will take your beautiful pictures. Yeah. Okay, ready, committee? Stay and keep your smile. 1, 2, 3. Once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, enough. Thank you very much for all speakers in this conference today, especially Professor Ahyak.
Yes, thank you.
Professor Abdulrasheed Olatunji, and
Just meaning say thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much, Professor Ahyak.
Oh,
Thank you.
All audience, all participants. We hope here we can meet in our campus, not by virtual, but by meeting face to face, inshallah. Okay, I am as a moderator. Let's close this plenary session with Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Maturun Bapak Yai. Thank you.
Okay.
See you next time.
I return to Mr. Master Ceremony. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the time. We thank you, Bapak Dr. Imam Kanafi, for the time. Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to extend certificates of appreciation. Sorry for Professor Ahyak. I would like to ask you to stop share screen because there is something error on your screen. Yeah. I mean, you may close the slideshow of your presentation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to extend certificates of appreciation to the speakers.
الشهادة للأستاذ الدكتور أحياء الماجستير من الجامعة الإسلامية الحكومية Tulungagung Indonesia. فليتفضل مشكورا الأستاذ الدكتور أحياء الماجستير. وللشهادة الثاني لفضيلة الأستاذ الدكتور عبدالرشيد Olatunji Abdussalam من جامعة Kolej Islam Perlis Malaysia. فليتفضل مشكورا الأستاذ الدكتور Abdulrasheed Olatunji Abdussalam. والشهادة الأخيرة لفضيلة الدكتور جافد إقبال من جامعة Abdul Walid Khan من باكستان Mardan. فليتفضل مشكورا لفضيلة الدكتور جافد إقبال. لفضيلة الدكتور جافد إقبال من جامعة عبد الولي خان University باكستان. فليتفضل مشكورا.
Respectful ladies and gentlemen, before having the break, we'd like to inform you that there is 1 hour for the break, and the parallel paper presentation session is going to start from 12:30 to 2:30, and we have already managed 4 venues for the paper presenters. Thank you.
الجامعة الإسلامية الحكومية Pekalongan نختتم هذه البرنامج بقراءة الحمدلله. الحمد لله رب العالمين. warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the conference participants, the closing ceremony will start at 2:30 after the parallel paper presentation. So you are asked to join the main venue again, and we will have the announcement of best papers and best presentation. Thank you.